Friends, it's 2026. And you know what that means? New year, better you. Wrong! It means more friggin' clone fragrances. They'll never stop. It's kind of like the Terminator.
What?
Except inexpensive fragrances from the Middle East. So not really at all like the Terminator.
I'll be back.
Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're well. Today, 10 of the newest clone fragrance drops. I'm gonna be going over them with you, letting you know how they smell, which ones are better than the others, which ones you should maybe be on the lookout for, and which ones maybe you don't need to be. They'll be linked in the description down below. Let us begin with Rayhaan Jungle Vibe Green. Rayhaan has been pumping up the fragrances, man. They've been releasing more and more of them. For a while, they basically just had a few. And then it was like they slowly had more and more and more. And this one came out right about the same time as Italia, which that one smells similar to Xerjoff's Naxos. And that one is actually a really good Naxos alternative. Opens up a little bit fresher, and then as it dries down, has more honey that comes out, but a really nice one. This one is something completely different, in case you couldn't tell by the name and color scheme and everything. And the fragrance it smells most similar to is actually kind of a random one. Like you would think that it's gonna be, I don't know, Louis Vuitton or something, because that seems to be what everything is a clone of nowadays. In fact, we've got a Louis Vuitton clone coming up here in a second. But no, this actually smells very similar to a fragrance that has a prominent fig note. And that fragrance is Santal Greenery by Dries Van Noten. So it's kind of right in that style, right in that wheelhouse. A little bit green, fruity, sweet, really nice, smooth, and as it dries down, sandalwood, which is going to help impart even more of that creamy kind of vibe alongside that fig. Nice spring, summertime fragrance, and also has a little bit of an extra performance compared to the OG, especially after you let this sit and mature a little bit. So kind of a surprise fragrance, a little bit out of left field, and yet I will absolutely welcome that over some of the more common fragrances that are getting cloned non-stop. Because at a certain point, if there are like 7, 8, 9 different clones of the same fragrance, you have to just step back and be like, I don't care. You know, the first one comes out and it's like, oh, cool, we have an option for that now. Second one comes out and you go, cool, maybe this one's a little bit different. By the time you're hitting like double-digit clones, you lost me. So Jungle Vibe starting this off with something a little fresh, a little different. Up next, Atrellia's Avalanche. Technically, Amazonas Avalanche. I gotta tell you guys, Atrellia, they're like a newer-ish clone house at this point, and they're a little hit or miss. Some of their clones are, they're Albert Einstein clones, or the fragrance line is like Atrellia Albert Einstein, which is just the weirdest combo. You can imagine Albert Einstein, you know, generational genius back in the day. Somebody comes to him and they're like, look, Albert, it's a pretty sick dog, but we can make a little extra money here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take your name, we're gonna slap that bad boy on just a dirt cheap clone fragrance from the Middle East, baby. And this is the best part, Alberto, it gets better, brother. It's gonna smell like mothballs and granny panties. Oh, brother, we're cooking with gas. And yet somehow that did actually happen. I cannot wait for the Armaf Stephen Hawking collaboration. It's gonna be out of control. For now though, we gotta make do with what we got. Back to this one, Avalanche. The name makes you think Silver Mountain Water, something like that, right? By the way, great atomizer. But no, this does not smell anything like an Avalanche, in fact. It smells like Dior Homme. More specifically, Dior Homme Original, not 2020. So just super random. It has that kind of cocoa vibe, the lavender, of course, the iris. There's leather in here, there's also patchouli. It does smell actually pretty good. Like as far as Dior Homme alternatives on the cheap, because this stuff, you can sometimes find like 20 bucks. It's actually really, really good for that price. So if you're like me and there's some Atrellia fragrances you've smelled and you've thought to yourself, this is a train wreck, don't sleep on that one. It maybe doesn't pack quite the same punch as Dior Homme Original or Dior Homme Intense, but still, for this price, really good. The next one is from Armaf, and this is called Mirage Man. Now, I have to admit, this one has seen better days. When I pulled this out of the old mailbox, I noticed it had been a leaking. I'll show you. So right here, you can see it's kind of eaten through the paint. And then I'm not sure how well you can make that out, but it's like all flaking off and kind of messed up. So unfortunately, my Mirage Man bottle is looking a little rough. And it's interesting because when I spray it, it doesn't actually start leaking all over the place. Usually that's what would happen. You'd get like a ton of leakage coming out from under the collar when you spray it, and it'd kind of get all over the place. But it's good. It's good. What I mean by that is, I guess it was like jostled around and banged around in transit, and it leaked, but when you spray the bottle, it functions correctly, so I guess I'll keep it. It's just, it does flake off onto my hands when I give it the old spray. So Mirage Man, this one popped up at JOMASHOP. What does it smell similar to? Well, this one is really obvious as soon as you spray it on. It is Ultramall, but it does have, to me, a bit of a twist. So of course, there are a lot of different alternatives to Ultramall out there. What makes this one slightly different is gonna be it has more of like a fresh sweetness off the top. It's still got that kind of bubblegummy vibe, you know, like Ultramall has and a lot of the other clones, but it hits you with more freshness, more of like an almost fresh mixed with sugary tweak to the Ultramall DNA. And then as it dries down, it gets closer and closer to smelling like how Ultramall comes across. So it's more like the opening and the mid, you're gonna get more of that difference. And it actually smells really good. Like the fragrance, I got no problems with. It's just the presentation there kind of messed up. Bros, the next one is crazy strong. I would say easily, of everything we're gonna talk about, the strongest one. Is it something that you need to rush out and grab though? We'll talk about it. But before we do, you know what time it is? It's clone time. It's code time. Not Armani, coupon. So the JOMASHOP codes, they've changed, be aware of that. If you shop at JOMASHOP, plug these codes in on the JOMASHOP app, save some cash. And then of course, codes for Gift Express, Fragrance Lord, Frag Flex, the perfume box, and dogs. The perfume box has some sick deals. Use those codes anytime you shop at those stores. Save yourself some extra cash. This next one, French Avenue, Nectare Extra Dose. And they're not lying. They are not lying. Bottle's kind of sick. You know, it's got this honeycomb design. So the expectation is just a blast of honey. But in fact, you get just a whole bunch of floral notes in there, white floral notes. It smells a little bit similar to Bravi by Thameen, but it's also kind of doing its own thing. So it's like a little similar to that and also a little bit not similar to that. Could remind you of it, but it's not like a direct one-to-one. To me, it is unisex, leaning feminine. Though I know there are gonna be a lot of guys out there who are like, no, I'd love to wear it too. And that's gravy, that is all good. But if you go up to like 100 guys and you say, okay, this is like, let's just say unisex, do you think it leans more masculine? Or does it lean more feminine? You're gonna get like 85 people that say it leans more feminine. And that's gonna be because, again, a whole bunch of florals in here, tuberose, orange blossom, neroli. Also has a decent little touch of jasmine in there. You've got tobacco, you have honey, so you would think, oh, maybe like Naxos-ish. But again, no Naxos. No, it doesn't smell like that. So you're gonna get that kind of almost assault of white florals off the top, which a lot of people are gonna be kind of a little skeeved by, because sometimes, you know, white floral notes, depending on how they're used, they can have like an almost animalic touch to them, this kind of like real wallop to the nose, and a lot of people are gonna be turned off by that. As it dries down, it does get more wearable, it smooths out a bit, the honey starts to come across, but it has to stick on your skin for a while before that moment kind of hits, you know? It's not just an immediate honey, tobacco, ginger, citrus kind of vibe. You gotta go through the trenches a little bit with this. Is it to my taste? No, it is not. I think it's for a very particular person, you know, it's a very particular wearing type of scent. You have to have confidence wearing. You know, if you spray this on, especially if you spray it on heavily, like the first time you wear it and you go out somewhere, you might be in for a bad time. But if it's something that rocks for you, something that you really enjoy, it's absolutely gonna set you apart from everybody else. That's for sure. Now another French Avenue, this one is called Ravine Ice. Kind of a sick presentation, actually. I think I like this presentation more than that one. It's kind of cool. It's like a bad pun, a big pun. I'm not a player. I just crush a lot. So Ravine Ice, this one with a cool new presentation style, a new line, it would appear. This right here smells similar to a Goldfield & Banks. Perhaps the most hyped of Goldfield & Banks, Pacific Rock Moss. At one point in time, that fragrance was just everywhere. Like literally everybody wanted it. And if this one is more particular, more difficult to wear, this right here is Easy Street. You know, that sweet citrus, lightly touched by aromatics. The same thing going on here as in Pacific Rock Moss. A little bit of woodiness, this faint green touch as it dries. Just super versatile, big compliment puller. It smells great if you like Pacific Rock Moss. At least to the overwhelming majority of people it does, because it is the type of scent that's made just to be worn, to be used. Now, with Pacific Rock Moss, the big hang up on that one was pretty much the performance, because you were paying, you know, a higher dollar amount compared to designers or clones or anything else. And it just didn't last a whole heck of a long time, and also didn't project like a monster, especially with the projection. And I'm not saying that this is close to this in terms of performance. It's not, but it is gonna get the job done compared to PRM. And I think as this one rolls out more places, becomes easier to find, it's a super solid pickup for spring and summertime. Now this next one is a must know in my opinion. It's Throne Eclipse. And I've talked about this one a little bit because it just really is that good to where the first time you wear it, you're like, oh, this stuff slaps. And it just gets better and better. I like the bottle, I like the built-in atomizer. And this is like a mix of Blonde Amber by Clive Christian and Altair by Parfums de Marly. Just a smash hit. Like, this stuff is great. When you first spray it on, to me, you get a little more of the Clive Christian, a little bit more of that Blonde Amber kind of vibe going on, which is like a boozy, dried fruit kind of sweetness, almost like a chutney or something. Just smells great. Then as it dries down, you get more of the warm spices. You get the cinnamon that comes out. You get that Altair kind of vibe. So you get the best of both worlds. Chilling out, take it slow, then you rock out the show. The longevity is solid, the projection is solid. This stuff is one of those fragrances where if you know, you know. Because it's giving you something that is technically kind of a clone fragrance, you know? It's taking two different things and smushing them together, but at the same time, because that's what it's doing, it's also giving you something unique. This is a stunner. This stuff is a standout. I'm also gonna do a giveaway of a couple clone fragrances, so stick around for that. The next one up is an Armaf, and it's called Cloud 9. Eau de Parfum. Now, this comes in the Pride of Armaf bottle style, right? And it does look super, to me, feminine leaning, just as far as like the accents. I don't know, you guys let me know. But I think the rose gold and like the this like light gradient and everything, it looks like it'd be a very feminine leaning fragrance. And then you spray it on, and it does actually have a similarity to a men's fragrance. It's like a take on Paradise Garden. Maybe it is a slightly more feminine leaning take on Paradise Garden, but when you wear this, you can tell right away that that's what it's basically trying to smell similar to. You get the coconut, you get the fig, you get that whole vibe coming across. It's just, it has maybe a little more of a sugary kind of take to it, at least initially. And then as it dries down, you get more of those green aspects that come out. And it does actually end up being a really nice alternative to Paradise Garden. And again, I know I've said that it's like a little feminine looking to me in terms of just the color scheme and all that stuff, but guys can super easily wear this, and the quality is great. So this one, Cloud 9, somehow, some way, some form, it is Paradise Garden. They also have this one, which is called Luna, which looks even more feminine, and it is indeed. With this one, we're talking like strawberry, sugary, very, very feminine leaning. Kind of like super sweet, gourmand to an extent. You know, that's like super popular right now. Tons of Middle Eastern brands coming out with fragrances that are just mega ultra gourmand, and this one is kind of in that direction. Mazaaj Rhythm up next. And with this one, we are talking Louis Vuitton, because it smells similar to Symphony, which means it's also gonna remind you of Khadlaj Island Dreams, but I will say between the two, between this one and the Khadlaj, I think this one's better. Grapefruit, bergamot, apple, and ginger, some of the notes off the top. As it dries down, a little amber, a little musk, so it's gonna give you that very Louis Vuitton-esque kind of opening, this sparkling, sweet, very enticing citrusy vibe. But then it also has that, you know, kind of classiness that those fragrances are also known for, so you could wear it in more formal occasions as well. Extremely top-notch stuff. This is, for spring and summer, perfect. And it should follow a similar pricing pattern, I would think, to Massage Infused. Mazaaj. Right now it's about 40 bucks, which is totally worth that price point. It should probably continue to drop a little bit more because Massage Infused is at 35. This, absolutely worth it. And look at that, Another Ravine, this one is Ravine Ginger, obviously also French Avenue, and you can kind of tell what this one smells similar to just by the name having ginger in it and knowing what this one smells similar to. So this one is Ingenious Ginger, also by Goldfield and Banks, and it's gonna hit kind of a different vibe than this one because the ginger here is bracing, like it is a spicy ginger. Sometimes with ginger you get more of that like uplifting sparkle, you know, where it adds this little bit of a sweetness to a citrus note and just kind of carries it into the air. This one is like a biting ginger, and to me it has a little more of that than Ingenious Ginger does. So that could make it work better for you, could make it work worse for you. It does also give you that bit of citrus off the top, which I kind of mentioned before with ginger. Oftentimes you'll get those working hand in hand. You get some of that here too. And then as it dries down, it does get a little creamier, a little bit sweeter. You know, it has some of the edges kind of sanded off as it dries. I think between these two, that this one stands out a little bit more. Like if you're trying to be a little bit more different, I think this one is easier to wear and this one is better for just overall compliments if that's what you're after. Both of them really versatile. And then we're gonna wrap up with this right here, Zen Gold by Khadlaj. Let's give this a blast. Woo. I love those atomizers. Everybody should be using those at this point. No more crappy atomizers. So this Khadlaj right here, this smells like Elixir Absolute by Jean-Paul Gaultier. Cardamom, plum, cinnamon off the top as it dries down. Of course, lavender in there, tonka as well, which is gonna give it kind of a vanilla vibe. And that's actually one of the better Khadlaj fragrances that I've smelled because it actually locks down the performance, gets better projection, better longevity. Sometimes some Khadlaj fragrances, not all, but some are a little bit lacking in that department. This one is not. Big attention grabber, fall and winter, can't go wrong. That stuff, solid. Which will bring me to the giveaway where I have a bottle of that and also an Atrellia. This one is Drift. So it's different than Avalanche over here. Drift smells similar to Sauvage Elixir. So these are the two fragrances that I will put together and ship to one of you. If you want to be interested in the giveaway, just like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. In the comment, let me know which of these newer ones you're most interested in, and let me know why. I'll pick a winner with random comment picker, post it up on the post tab of the YouTube channel. If you're the winner, hit me up and I will ship it out to you. And it will be posted up with a bunch of other winners at the same time. I usually batch them out, and then once I get all those shipped, then I'll do another pull, and we'll just keep doing it like that. So good luck. All right, guys, that will do it for me. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video. See you guys.